Ew. Time for some Monster Hunter. I've had a crazy week, so it's nice to relax a little bit. We have to start off with a bear off, and I kind of feel like we should have better gear before we do that. But it's what's up next, so let us review really quickly. Yeah. Mach-Light and Beelite. Mach-Light we can get. The Beelite I'm just not 100% on. It might be after I beat the Baroth, and maybe the Baroth upgrades the mines. So maybe I'll just throw a little attack up on. Cool. Give us the best chances we can have. And leading the charge. All right. So I hope, well, everyone else is having a good week. I think it's just New Year stuff for me. It's the nature of people kind of coming back from holidays and wanting to get in there and get their checklists going and start accomplishing stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just it means everyone is intense right around the exact same time, which is great. Oh wait, what am I doing? This is whatever. I'll go this way because yeah, Baroth though is Baroth not Barioth? That's a different creature. Bariath. A lot of bees. Cool. Baroth. Let us give her a go. Or not. Maybe he's immediately going to flee. I should have thrown a paintball at him. Oh no, he's here. Hey, it worked. Earplugs are pretty nice. Okay, great. Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I don't want this to happen. Now that it has happened, we'll try and preserve our cleanser, yeah, for more dire moments, or at the start of a fight, you know? It's okay if that happens. Especially as an example. Now, I was saying, I feel like Baroth kind of comes at a weird place. I just feel like he comes a little bit early, but that was probably just like when I first played this game, where I should say try, because I think I fought Baroth first in try. I was just kind of accustomed to the previous two generations, and in those ones it really worked you up to monsters of a certain size. And this one, right out of the gate, is kind of indicating it's going to be a very different type of Monster Hunter game. You have, you know, your bird, wyvern things, and that's kind of similar to Korapeko. And there's like a great Jagia, so like there's similarities there too. But we have a few more body types we've seen in regards to like the monster skeletons and their internal types, because they all have classes. They're not all wyverns. Although some are wyverns that are kind of confusing as wyverns, and that's a whole thing. But yeah, it's what it is. Ooh. I do remember struggling with this dude. I think it was just, I don't know. There aren't a whole ton of monsters like him in the older games. So it's probably just adjusting to new tactics, new strategies. Although, if you look at the design ethos of Monster Hunter, for the most part, there seem to be like some common ancestors, and that comes down to not just physiology but psychology as well. Maybe at some point down the road, this I don't know why it's that close. That was dumb. Maybe Baroth here had a common ancestor with Diablo. And it could be that, they split, but the charging instinct that maintains, It's tough to say, because Monster Hunter is, of its many similarities to Dark Souls, vague lore is a standout. There are some hints towards, like, what might have been an old empire, and it was brought down by, black dragons, so to speak. That's what they were called. There's like a weapon, I think, that old humanity had built out of dragons. It's like there's a lot of weird stuff back there, but nobody really knows if it's true or not. I'll be a puddle. Or not a puddle. This is gonna be a weird puddle. Although, random localization lesson. In Newfoundland, where a great amount of my family is from, if you look at most bodies of water, there are so many bodies of water where they are, but they're also rather intimately surrounded by the ocean. That means that everything that most people would probably call a lake, they're like, oh, that's a pond. And it always struck me as odd. It doesn't have any bearing. It's not really malicious. It's just like, this is a pond to you? What are my ponds? And then hear my grandfather's voice being like, well, you call a pond, I call a puddle. Anyways, kind of what I'm thinking about there. All to say that what I was neither a pond nor a puddle. And kind of odd to think of it in the first place. Nice. Now, another issue with Baroth is that you break its armor, so it feels like you're making a lot of progress, but it just goes get mud, and it takes on more mud, and then it has armor again. You're like, oh, my progress was a lie. Which is kind of the case sometimes, I feel like a lot of people equate progress with a certain series of steps, and then when things happen outside of those series of steps, they no longer see it as progress. They see it as a mistake, or going too fast, or something like that. That's why I always have this opinion that, like, workaholics are actually lazy. Like, they like to overdo things to fulfill a sense of completeness, but it, like, obfuscates what actual success and what actual times to, like, succeed in process are. right? Like when you elongate everything because of a personality trait, it really like does not keep you connected with the reality of what you're doing, because you're making it literally more than it is. Like, truth be told, I think a lot of the workaholics that I know seem lazy. You know, like, they're fine with pouring hours and hours and hours of time into something, but actually, like, taking the time to read something, no. They want to find ways to spend that time that feels like achieving something, but never really reaches that goal right away. Actually reaching that goal right away, that's not work, or doesn't feel fulfilling. It's the process of getting there that I think workaholics like. And it always reminds me of like a kid cleaning their room, you know, and they're like, no, I am cleaning my room. Look, I'm doing stuff. But really all they've done is just like pick up the rug and move it and then put it back down and take a wrapper and throw it in the garbage. And then like take something out of the drawer and spend 2 days reading it and going through the memories of what was in that drawer. And you're like, oh my God, like you were supposed to clean the room. What happened? They're like, well, now I'm thinking about that time my cousin visited and we never got to build a necklace together. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, this has nothing to do with what you're supposed to be achieving here, son. No, I don't have kids, but I'm sure that's exactly how I'd speak to them. Very much evocative of a 1950s conservative father who wants to play ball with the sport. No, I'm so not connected to that world, I wouldn't even know where to start. Cool. Risky heal. Worth it. Okay. Is he going back to his mud pit? What's happening here? Right. So, let's see what's gonna happen here. Nothing crazy. Oh, we have Chinooks. You don't know what those are. They are headache buttons. It's like, yo, I don't actually really know what they are. I'm not even gonna pretend. I believe it's when a sudden warm front blows in, collides with a cold front, and gives you a few days of odd, kind of isolated weather patterns. You can usually see these fronts collide if you look at the clouds. It will be like the clouds will be like a line. And yeah, they make everything super warm, and I don't like the warm. So that's not great. And then they make your head hurt because it's like a big pressure shift, right? So if you're sensitive to that, then that's additionally less than enjoyable. And you have the third downside that it's very, very common for people to both like the warm weather and to talk about it. So if you're a person that gets headaches and likes it cold, everyone is like talking about things that cause you just massive amounts of suffering. And that kind of makes you feel a little jaded as well. Everyone's like, oh my god, I love Chinooks, it's so warm. And you're like, yeah, I passed out at 6 p.m. yesterday because I had a migraine that's so bad I couldn't see straight. But I'm glad you got to sit on your fucking porch. Like, Jesus. It's tough to not be a little cranky when you're in pain. So Barov recovers here to like try and rest, but he also recovers here to do like a bird bath type thing. He gets himself all muddy, and then he's armored back up for what could be the second half of the phase of the fight, the last third, I'm not certain. Oh, okay. Sir? Sir. Alright. Great. Although, you know what, I've come to make an odd realization, because, you know, it's cold where I am, I'm Canadian. And growing up Canadian, you grow up very multicultural, at least nowadays, right? Like, you're bathed in First Nations and indigenous cultures, awareness about what's happened to them and how the government has treated them. And then we have a lot of people from a lot of different countries. So you grow up, even if you're a white guy, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going for Vietnamese Tuesday, and then I'm gonna have Mexican Thursday, and then every classroom you're in, every workplace you're in, it's a diverse workspace. And that's just fine. Like, it doesn't bug me one bit. To the point where, like, it seems odd to make a point about it. And I mention this because I work with a lot of Americans. So every now and then, like, we'll be having discussions and chats, and, like, they're good. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's also, every now and then, you're like, do people not know this stuff? And evidently not. It's just, it stands out so much when you grow up in a place where it's like all of, even my friend groups are people of different faiths or ethnicities, right? Like, it wasn't actually until I was like pretty late in the career where I met different people that I was ever like in a group of people who were all the same gender as me and the same race. Like, other than being in the same room with just my family, like, that never happened. And again, it's not an issue. It just goes to show how little that really seems to be a part of the Canadian identities for me. If it matters at all. I embrace the fact that everybody has these cool backgrounds and differences and things to teach and things to share. So the idea of someone being in such a place that's like constantly homogenous, it sounds so weird. It doesn't really sound real, you know? It's like, you know, some people in my family came from small towns, so like when you bring them over, you're like, okay, here, I'm gonna show you a bunch of different types of food. They're like, oh my god, I've never had this. And you're like, yeah, I've been having this since junior high for lunch. You know, I'd go over to the restaurant across the street. It's such different experiences, but we're so globalized now too. It is easier to access. It's not like somebody in the 1900s had the same option of eating internationally so easily. Oh well, interesting things to observe. Alright, with that addressed, did that by chance unlock the mine? No, not yet. Okay, well, I'm sure it'll be eventually. Okay, we got all these things. What do we have next? I will go do gathering quests if I have to. But you know, sometimes you feel like life is a gathering quest. Every now and then you just want to hunt some stuff instead. I've never been in a desert at night. I guess you could arguably can say I've been in deserts during the day. Not very big ones. But deserts and sandstone and stuff like that nevertheless. But not extensively. I've been in plains and forests. I've been in mountains. I've been in tropical jungles. I've been in, I don't know what you would call them, like ancient overgrown forests, like big Irish forests. There's a lot of geographies that I would like to explore more. I've done tundra, been in tundra. But I would spend more time in tundra if I could. I have camped in it infrequently, and I would be super excited to camp in that environment again, and like with a group of people who are really interested in that type of thing. I've had the mismatch in my past where I've tried camping with people who really prefer a different style to me. And you know what? There's a place for like RV camping and stuff like that, and cabin camping, and I like that. I'm not opposed to those options. I enjoy them myself. It's more just when I go to certain environments, like if you're going to a tundra, it's going to be cold, it's going to be muggy, there's probably going to be bugs if it's not freezing. And dealing with those things is part of the fun for me. Like, how do you handle this challenge? How do you keep warm? How do you sleep comfortably? How do you, despite the downsides of this environment, choose to or find a way to have a good time? And yeah, that is the fun. That's why I like winter camp. But I've gone in the past with people who aren't really interested in camping gear. They aren't really interested in survival or bushcraft, like techniques or tactics or that world. And again, I get it. It can be a little bit dorky at times. I'm cognizant of that. I find it fun. I like having different tools for different purposes, knowing how to use them, knowing how to take care of yourself, knowing how to be comfortable, and finding ways to relax, kind of like regardless of the circumstance. So, going in the past with people who kind of wanted to just bring things in a different way and not really cook the way I wanted to, not use techniques, rely overly on automation, for example. You know, they can be fun trips, but I kind of would be more into a circumstance where everyone's like, oh, I got this really specific -40 bag, and I have an aluminium tent that's lightweight, so I can, you know, carry it and pack it down really easily, and I'm trying out this new, you know, waterproof whatever. Like that type of thing is fun, like challenging your gear, challenging your setup, trying to arrange it like a deck of cards, so to speak, and play it against nature. Like I was when I was camping a lot, I was really into knives and hatchets and machetes, different maintenance techniques, discussing, you know, which oil was best, what type of whetstone was best, what type of steels you should use, which grit of whetstone with. Like that was all really interesting to me, and I spent a lot of time learning about it and practicing it myself, and learning, you know, what's good in a tool at a base level, what makes it function well mechanically, and what makes it function well materially, or as a result of its materials, whichever way is more grammatically correct. And then other folks were just kind of like, oh, you know, I got this knife, it works. Or there's no excitement there. And again, that's people's prerogative, right? Like maybe different parts of the experience are what they're going for. But you should try and, you know, experience stuff with people who are going to take joy in the same parts, or have a supporting kind of joy. You know, like if I'm really into cool tools, then it works out really well that my nice axe means my partner gets to enjoy a warm fire, and that's something they really like. Something like that. Alas, the only thing I wish I drove for is to camp. And sometimes I want to, and I just remember I hate driving so much. I hate cars. I don't like being in one. I really don't want to be on a highway. So I don't know. I'm at an impasse. I don't know how to get out there. And I don't really want to train to do it. I'd rather bike or something. So maybe that's the solution for me, right? Like, live and move somewhere that I can reasonably bike in with like a lightweight gear set, and kind of go from there. Just hammock camp or lightweight tent camp if I have somebody else to carry some stuff. Because tent camping, in my opinion, is like fine solo. There's nothing wrong with it, especially if you're going to drive out. But if you're carrying your gear, if you're hiking in, I'm a hammock guy. I feel like a lot of people are hammock people nowadays. It's just, you know, environmentally, it's the most like ethical option, because you don't even tramp down on grass, right? You don't even really take up a square of space on the ground. If you're using tree-safe straps, you're not cutting into the trees that you're hanging off of. You won't even really damage the bark if you do it right, and you have a wide enough strap. And like everything is weight rated, right? So, yeah, hammock camping, way to go if you can. But you know, sometimes it's nice, especially if you're like with someone that you want to like share a sleeping space or share warmth or cuddle or something, right? So hammocks are not as great for that for sleeping. When you're just hanging out, yeah, sure, but not for sleeping. So I just did my farming, but I figured, you know what I should do before I go questing more? I should add some skills to folks. So for Tiger, let's give him a health flute. I think that's fun to start off with. And let's see. What could be fun to have the other guy do? I could just have him deal more damage, you know? That's not bad. Or I could get him every now and then to up the armor for our total attacks. So yeah, let's get this guy on Demon Flute. Cool. You got a new instrument to play there, buddy. Cool. All right. So from there, those are just skills you can add on to your cats as you continue to play the game. They get stronger. Having two of them is frankly, it's powerful. Oh, wait, what? Okay, I was confused for a second. It's like, I thought I couldn't see clears, but we're good. All right. So I don't really want to do monster guts if I don't have to, so let's go do a Great Rocky. I think this is the bigger version of the very frog colored, like poison dart frog colored raptors. At least that's what I would point to if I'd like pick an inspiration. It would be one of those sorts of very dangerous tropical frogs. I think some of them, the mucus that they excrete, if you so much as touch them, you're basically dead. Then again, maybe that's just part of the mythos to keep people from going anywhere near them in the first place. You know, there's cautionary tales that aren't necessarily true, but if you don't listen to them, they will be. Okay. A lot of options for this guy. Very dense, the map. It's super pretty. Although I do have to say, I would not want to vacation here. You know, presumably the monster hunters have been around for a while, and the giant monsters are no longer a concern. Even then, you know, I feel like, oh, you know what? I bet it's like in 10 or 9. I made a bad choice, but it's okay. I'll just go. I'll accept my choices for what they are. I just know there's like an area up there that those poison dudes really like to hang out at. None of these, fellas. Oh, for the best, anyways. Do we have a Great Rocky? Ugh, singing. Gross. I guess, is this monster special enough to get a cutscene? Alright, yeah, that's, I was correct about my suspicion. However, this thing is a raptor-type monster, so while I have no doubts I'll get poisoned once or twice, I'm you know, I'm confident in my ability to turn this around relatively, quickly. Both my cats are already poisoned. They're gonna be down for the count pretty quick. Although, you know, it's funny playing games in a format like this, because you're not subject to immunity from that desire to, like, always be playing whatever catches your fancy, but it's kind of nice because it forces you to commit to something at least to a reasonable degree, right? There's a strong desire in me to go and replay Final Fantasy VII, and probably 8 if I'm being honest with you, and probably 9 and 6 and maybe 4. So only 4, 6, 7, 8 9, 10, 12, 13, and 15. Like those are the only ones I really want to replay. So every now and then it lingers in my mind that would be fun to do that, but it'd be impractical to start running just an obscene amount of series. It's a little nuts. Unless you're like getting paid to do it, right? In place of a full-time job. No, that's fine. That's reasonable. Alongside a full-time job, not as viable. Ah, well. Oh man, there's some games that were shoddily brought into the future that I'd really like to play, right? Like, I would love to, I don't even know if it would be a good Let's Play, like if I'm being specific about it. I would love to replay Fable 2 and Fable 3. And I know it is technically possible to get Fable 3 on Steam. You had to like buy a key outside of their storefront and then bring it into the storefront, and then they still keep it in their downloads repository. It's just only for people who find a, yeah, I'm gonna pronounce that really weird. Only for people who find, oh god damn it, a license, because they're not actively allowed to sell licenses anymore. But I believe for some reason they're still contractually obligated to oblige people who do have a license, so you can add your purchase the game to Steam is what I'm saying here. And maybe that'd be fun for 3, but 2 is lost time. It looks like even through really overpowered emulation, 2 kind of runs like garbage. I think it's a deep level. It has something to do with, like, it is a code level concern with Fable 2. I feel like you would have to break the whole game open and really, like, tear into it to find out why it struggles to be a game as much as it does. And it's kind of a shame, too, because I think Fable 2 is the best of the series. I know I tried to play it in, like, the cloud thing when I briefly subscribed to Game Pass, because I don't really like Game Pass. I don't really like any of these subscription things. Like, I oblige Netflix and Disney Plus, because I just, for the most part, really want the content that they're producing. But Spotify, like, nah, man, I'm just gonna buy an album. Game Pass, no, I'm just gonna buy the game. And I don't know, maybe it's like there's a part of me that really doesn't like cheapness either, right? Like, I'm really embarrassed by cheapness. So the idea of, like, no, I'm not gonna buy things. I'm just gonna pay this one thing that gives me that stuff instead. But I don't really own it, but I can use it whenever I want. It's like, man, I don't know. It's not for me. Feels like bragging that you get store brand for something, you know? Like, yeah, this is great for, like, kids or people who, you know, difficulties accessing stuff, but I have such a fear with Game Pass that's going to diminish the quality of games that are getting produced as they strive to find, like, production models that are profitable under that release scheme. And I just don't know how they're going to do it without veering towards, like, heavy monetization in-game, you know, selling small packets of DLC or chopping sizes of games down, making them more and more like mobile experiences, because the AAA option, like you look at God of War Ragnarok, could God of War Ragnarok been produced from start to finish for a Game Pass style release where it's not going to get a traditional sales income? I don't know. I feel like we would miss out on some really cool experiences just to try and abide this way of delivering the game. And I don't want quality of games to suffer just because people don't want to pay some money. I don't know. It frustrates me because I just love games so much. Not because we shouldn't all have more money. We should all have more money. That's a given. Cool. So that was great Roggy. Like I said, definitely tested my antidote supply. Facing delicacy. Oh, okay, this is bugs. But again, I kind of forgot to read the thing, so I'll read some things. Greetings, Hunter. A monster is hitting the village wall from the outside. If we do not get rid of it, the wall would probably collapse. Do something else. Okay. The Roggy. I removed some thick grass on the ground and someone stepped onto it. He was so orange in color and especially big, I wasn't able to deal with it. So I handed it over to you. I'm praying for your luck. And then I did a bear off, didn't I? Anyway, I was too obstinate. A single blow on the head is not enough. Instead, my butt got blown sky high. It's too unpleasant to accept a twice defeat. Would you challenge it for me? Oh wait, no. I was just looking. We already did it. Let's go fight. Oh, we gotta do another great Jackie? Wow. Alright, let's do a Banabra. Or 20 Banabra, not just one. Alright. Take all this stuff. The poisonous smoke bomb is for different bugs. If you want to carve them, the imposition is that if you hit them with your sword, they blow up. You hit them with your hammer, they blow up. You hit them with stuff, they blow up. They're squishy. They have exoskeletons. They're under pressure. But if you kill them with a poisonous thing, you die, like I just did. They leave corpses that you can harvest parts from. Which, if you're looking to build suits of armor from bug parts, you're set. I'm dying. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's been a week of talking. I had one day this week where I had like 6 hours of meetings and not much time to do anything else. And for me, I try to relatively keep a technical focus and stuff like that. So while it is, I understand at times, viable for me to be in meetings and it makes sense and is to the benefit of everyone. It's not my preference, but I get in there. Lots of well, I guess I should clarify. I don't really have any issues talking with people. I just I really struggle with knowing what's correct and how to phrase something, and I worry that my approach can be misunderstood. I never want people to feel rush or judge, and the pressure of maintaining that, I guess, feels heavy is the easiest way to explain my situation. And I guess I'm also in a way, I feel not very interested in maintaining the emotional state of someone when I'm trying to solve a technical thing. So, like, if I'm trying to help you, I feel like for me the best resolution is just fixing the problem. And sometimes there's things around that you have to do as well. And maybe, you know, it's just my perspective, maybe it's my generation. I feel like it's uncouth to put that requirement on somebody else. I feel like we should largely try to have our own success strategies and employ those, compared to needing other people to intervene and interject with their own. Alas, what can you do? It's just how it goes. Just how she goes. And I'm overly analytical too, so I feel like that can be a benefit and a detriment at times. And I wouldn't say I'm an overthinker. I really embrace, once I can, pushing something out of my brain. You know, if I don't need to hold on to it, I'll be like, okay, cool, done with that, great. On to the next, whatever. Moving on in my life. Oh well. Let's go over to 9 and then 10. I can only imagine. Some of them are there. Should have hung out for a second, I would have got healed. Now, I think it's important to note that we are not hunting these. I'm pretty sure we're hunting these guys. Yes, we are indeed. You know, there's a picture and stuff, but maybe pictures fail. I know everybody has preferences. I'm definitely a reader. Like, I am the type of person where if transcription services were kind of like at a better point quality-wise, I would totally read meetings or live phone calls. You know, someone says something to you, and you can just read it instead of have to listen. Because even for myself, sometimes I find people talk slowly, and it can take them time to arrive at the point. Oh, and when they get there, they realize that they want to talk about something else entirely, and you're like, oh god. And it's rude, because nobody's a perfect speaker. Nobody has, you know, very few people anyways have default orator skills. I guess it's so frustrating when you're in a situation where people both demand a certain type of communication and refuse to become in and of themselves experts of it, if that makes sense. It sucks to be on someone's like phone when they're like, hey, I would like to speak to you on the phone. You're like, okay, that sounds fine. And then they get on the phone, they're really bad at being on the phone. You're like, why did you ask for this? Do you think it's better? Is this like a masochistic thing? Has nobody ever told you that you take forever to get to a point? Or, you know, some people aren't aware of their talking habits. You know, in a circumstance like this, I'm obviously going to be very one-sided. I'm not having a conversation. This is like a weird monologue interjected by, you know, various monsters and gameplay mechanics. But an actual conversation, you really gotta keep a finger to the pulse of who is saying more words. I've actually timed some meetings before. You know, in an hour, when you're in a group of multiple people. chances are, if it's a shared meeting and, you know, everyone's supposed to be saying something, no one person should be speaking for 32 minutes. But some people will. I mean, I guess I'm a little overly critical, right? I'm the type of person, if someone I find they're talking too much, I'll start timing them and just like turning on and off the stopwatch whenever they talk, or find a reason to, oh, me too, yeah, this. And there's a fine line between like partaking and adding your experience and needing to be a part of every interaction. One is reasonable, normal human behavior. One's really annoying. Because it's like, okay, let other people have a moment. You don't have to be the best at everything, or know everything, or be, you know, a part of every experience. You can just go, oh, that's cool, and still, you know, be involved without having had the same thing or a better experience or whatever. Sometimes going, oh, that's cool, I would like to do that, or that's interesting, thanks for sharing, is just as much of a contribution of, oh yeah, I used to do this, or I did, and it was similar to every time. So I think we'll see what we can keep on pushing on through here. Kind of easy to get a lot of quests done early game. So yeah, next up is this great Jaggy, I guess. Villagers are attacked recently by this frightful and ferocious great Jaggy. The village cannot get rid of it by themselves, so please take this job and help them. Sure. We will go get Great Jaggy. Third or fourth one so far. Just about as many episodes. Although this area is pretty, so there's benefit to that. Really pretty. Look at that. I'd vacation here. Give me this tent right here. Oh, with the wood furnace and everything. Oh. Ah, I'd so happily be in this area. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I guess it is a new area, isn't it? This is the default village in where the first area in Try, which means beyond that gate is technically Moga Village, which we will be going to, but not in this game. Nope. Although, take a note of this area for when we return here playing a Wii U game. It's interesting to see the differences between all these areas. And there are some notable differences too. There aren't any water areas. Like, you see water on the map and, like, yeah, there's water in those areas, but it's not completely underground like it was underwater like it was in Try. So very much modified in that sense. You know what, might have been in 5, honestly. We'll go down this cave, we'll poke around, we'll see. I'm pausing intermittently because something in my hair is poking into my ear under my headphones, and it drives me nuts. Like, I've always entertained the idea of this awful haircut where I, like, have around where the headphone would rest shaved. But, it's not a great idea. Just a convenient one. I would have a lot of things. Like, if people didn't care how other people looked, you know, if I didn't care how I looked to some degree, I would do tons of whack stuff like that. Like, who would dress good? Who cares? I would way rather be function over form. Yeah, you used to go down there. The whole thing. Well, okay, maybe this level, this is like the one spot you didn't actually go down there, but whatever. Whatever, man. Oh, you know what? He's probably in 6, and I've just run around in this awkward, missing him everywhere. Strategy. Because I think this is like their hive. No? Okay, you know what? If I kill enough of your brethren, will you come out? Because I clearly can't find you right now, but maybe I can make you come. Nice. Okay, now we're demon horned. Take that. You'd figure a demon horn would be more intimidating, but demons are already so intimidating. I guess whatever horn they're using is pretty intimidating. In the middle of the night, even if you heard that, you'd be like, oh crap, I'm dead. Something horrible is gonna happen. So, you know, from that perspective, it's a pretty good demon horn. Great Jaggy, are you here? No, just some weird stuff you'd see in a Silent Hill game. Awesome. Awesome. I'm good. I'm glad. There's a little cat area in here. Kind of fun. I think you get a random chance. Nothing here. All right, well, bye cats. I think the white ones are nice. And the darker ones are aggressive at sight, which seems to be a color coding the standard, if not a slightly uncomfortable one. Okay, where are you, Great Jagia? I feel like I've gone all around looking for your face. And your face has not been presented. Yeah, I mean, like, I really don't feel like he is... Oh. Oh, I got bombed. But it wouldn't really make a whole whack of sense for him to live in 10. We've ruled out 6. We haven't been to 1 for a while. For him to be here, he'd have had to run past me, like, as I was leaving. Yeah, all right. I'm also impressed that these things get 2 cards. You know, like, for a massive size up, you only tend to get 3. So it's like, how dense are these creatures? How much worthwhile stuff do they have, you know, tucked in there? Oh gosh, button mistakes. I was like, yeah, it is a great Jackie, right? So like, what is given? I feel like I've been to like every part of the map too. All right. Let's investigate. I've been to 1, I've been to 2, I've been to 3, I've been to 4, I've been to 5, I've been to 6, I've been to 7, 8, 9, and 10. Is the Great Jaggy not here? Perfect. Alright, Jaggy, I have spent more time finding you than I expect you to survive. Please handle yourself accordingly. I like this music, though. Some pretty good tunes and a lot of music. Every now and then, a lot of tunes and a lot of music. A lot good tunes and a lot of games nowadays. I think it's just becoming that much of a bigger avenue for these things. And because games can go so hard into like a period piece, for example, or a specific culture or a time period, you know, you can bring back things that might be non-traditional or very traditional and let them be an element of music that you're designing. I think, like, you know, God of War Ragnarok did win a lot of awards for its music. And having beat the game, you know, like, the music is very subtle, but they did get to use a lot of traditional instruments and, you know, bring back traditional styles of creating music to develop their new tunes and soundtracks, and that to me is admirable. That's something that might not have happened if it weren't for the ability for a video game to really replicate a whole world. Not just, well, here is people playing a part, you know, here is a legitimate experience, here is a in-depth inoculation, and you can adhere to authenticity a lot more believably sometimes. Ah, darn. I was hoping that was gonna catch him. I think he goes to 6. He might pass through 5, or maybe this is where he'll die. Although, you know, I just got a kind of weird craving to watch some old James Bond movies. That could be fun to do in the future. There we go. So, you know, another great Jaggy bid. Nothing crazy there. I think it might have taken just as long to find him as it did to actually address him. Yeah, we can fight this Ludroth. Why not? Ludroth, you've been destroyed. Sorry about that. My cats were fighting you. It was you know, once they taste blood type of situation. They look cute, but they're fearless souls. Look at how they pounce. Fearless. Fearless entities. Happy dance. Dun, 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 dun. Might as well get an herb. I feel like one more hunt to tidy up the episode is not a bad idea. And in that case, we're gonna go fight a Royal Ludroth. Mystery, oh my. I saw this person drowning in the water. I asked him why. He replied, a yellow monster. That's intriguing, eh? Solve this mystery, Hunter. So I saw this guy, he was drowning, and I was like looking at him, and he was like, I was like, why are you drowning? Like, don't you know you shouldn't do that? And he's like, yellow monster. So who knows what the hell he means? I came home, you know, and that was weird. I love it. I love it. It's so silly. Oh, I got these stones. I'm not gonna throw rocks at random herbivores, but I will throw them at the King Ludroth, the Royal Ludroth. We don't know its gender. I really don't want to have to do gender. Although, you know, I play a fair amount of Phasmophobia. And it would be really funny if you had, like, you could get more points for, like, what is the gender of the ghost? What is that? And you had to, like, find ways to determine the gender of the ghost. It would just be, I could see it being very funny in a way. And you could have creepy moments too, you know, like maybe clothing starts floating out of wardrobes or something, like a dress stands in the hallway for a moment or something. You're like, oh, it's a chick or something. Would it also be funny if, you know, you just like threw a football down the hallway and the ghost caught it and you're like, ah, this is a dude. Look at that catch. Yeah, so that's a thing. Royal Ludroth is cool. You end up fighting him a lot as the series progresses, this game too. So it's not a fight I would say I am lost on. I have a pretty good recollection of this guy, and you can cut off this little nib of his tail. It might be worth it. Ludroth gear is pretty good. Ludroth. The swords are also pretty good because water damage in a Monster Hunter game is, generally speaking, pretty useful because the monsters that do have those weaknesses tend to be pretty tough. There are other options that are nice. Oop. I say Twinish's egg. Ooh, nice hits. Look at this rock. Yeah, I bet you're intimidated now. My potential probably seems alarming. Oh no. I would really love to get to a point where I have green sharpness. I could probably figure out where Violite ore is. Man. Can't say I know right off the top of my head. Although I actually feel like it's this brown forest, if this is what this area is called. Deserted Island, something. I feel like it is one of the stages from level 2. Rank 2 village quests where you can start getting it. We'll see. Maybe I'll go out and do some gathering quests in between episodes. Or maybe I could just do a gathering episode. Yeah. Nothing but someone farming for some stuff. Super interesting. I don't know, I think it's one of the downsides of doing something like a JRPG. Like, arguably, actually, like I was talking about Final Fantasy VII earlier in the game, I'm pretty certain you don't actually need a lot of grinding in that game. You want to because it's fun and you're curious about things and you want to level your materia and you want to be stronger. But for the most part, there are speed runs which largely don't level. Or just let the levels from the mandatory completions be all they get. So you don't have to grind, and if I was to give it a playthrough, I probably wouldn't unless I was like straight up stuck on something and like nothing was resolving that concern. Oh, I forgot to paintball him. He didn't fly. And there's no like underwater channels anymore in this level, so I was like, oh well, where is he gonna go? I remember the tail. Oh, okay, well, a whole whack of no good hits there. Nice. So there we go. That's a tail cut on this guy. In combat, I'm not gonna lie, it's not like it's a huge like benefit for Royal Ludroth. I say that just because like he still has a reasonable amount of tail left after you cut it off. So you're really only getting the tip. And that just means, you know, there are some moves like that, which you still gotta watch out for from the back. It isn't like, oh well, now behind is safe. Behind is not safe. Don't let yourself down. Just have to, you know, it hurt my pocket when I landed. I don't know. No, I stepped a weird direction to not take damage. Well, I guess I gotta hit the head, eh? Is that what I'm learning here? Cat, can you not steal from me? Like, I get cat beef. That's a thing, but like... I don't know. I feel like we could just skip it. I'll give you snacks. You fight the monsters with me, and we're set. You know, like we're friends. Every now and then, I can't use the dash button in out of a combo. I feel like I get like stunned, or maybe I just don't have enough stamina. There's some occlusion of events which is preventing me from moving how I want. Oh, I thought he would be a little further in, but that's fine. Hello. We'll just take a risky sharpen here. Yeah, yellow is not a great maximum, but you take what you can get. Oh, darn. Quit trying to run away. This is just in case he swims through the floor or something crazy. You never know. Kids these days, right? No, I'm sure this is just part of humanity. It is fun, in a way, to reconcile with no longer being a kid. You know, there's a part of me that still feels very close to being a teenager. And then I had to reconcile with the fact that I've been married for years. I have a career that I've had for years. I've done a lot of stuff, and I'm not a kid anymore. It's a funny thing to recognize when you're still like young enough to remember school and elementary school, but far too old to be anywhere near one without a kid of your own, without being creepy. It's like that sweet spot where you're not old to the world, but you're not young. You're just kind of a dude. In mine, there's nothing wrong with being a dude, you know? Sometimes that's life, just being a dude, but it's interesting. Because I always wanted to be older, so I always kind of felt older, and I had this, you know, interest in not acting like my peers directly. And that tended to mean, I don't even know where I'm going. I got lost in my thinking. I didn't expect him to get stuck there and not go through the barrier. I don't want to die in that loading transition, so this is a... Oh. Much better position. Can we get a charged headshot finisher? No. I think the cat got him, actually. funny. Cat murders. But that is the nature of it sometimes, you know? Like, the cats, they're dealing damage. They're throwing bombs. They are involved. Oh, it's some warm in here. Oh, it's crazy. We were like minus 20 degrees Celsius just the other day, and now we're looking like it's coming into a warm spring day, almost a summer day. I wonder, do all places have that thing where they're like, oh, weather can change here in a dime, or I guess some places are like, it's always rainy. But personally, I've always experienced an excess of variability. What's normal, what's not, what comes, what goes. It's all over the place. And expecting something simple doesn't always work, for sure. Nice to get some items. Aqua sack. Cool. All right, well, that was some Monster Hunter Portable Edition 3rd HD. Monster Hunter 3 Freedom. A Monster Hunter. I hope you have a good time. Hope you enjoy checking out some of these old games and interesting series. I'm gonna head off here and we'll play more in the next episode. Hope you have a good one. And if you can, definitely check out a hot spring like this one. Bye.